you learn to trust her? And did you have to work at it at all, or did it just come natural?
Who here has read the Harry Potter books? Clap and cheer. For me, the first time I took a hold of the dog's harness was like Harry Potter riding a broomstick for the first time. It was an absolute rush, and I loved it. Having said that, it definitely, each dog is a new experience. Prudence is my third, where you have to learn how you have to learn each other and how each other works and what is the best way to work with each other. But I have absolutely loved working with the dog, and it's just an incredible experience that she'll take me off to the left and we just avoided hitting something, I don't know what it is, and then we keep going along our way. So I've absolutely loved it.
The next question is that this world that we live in is obviously designed around sighted people, right? There's tons of signs everywhere, there's just even the simplest things require sight. So my question for these guys is what does it take to be successful in this world that is not designed around your needs? What do you need to do to make it and just in your everyday life? So I'm going to start with Kurt this time.
You know what I do is I turn it into a game in my head. I think, okay, this is a game. I'm trying to win the game. What can I do different that maybe someone hasn't thought of, or maybe other blind people have thought of, and I can ask them? So like, for example, with signs, you might think, oh, well, a blind person can't read a sign. But guess what? I have a phone with a camera on it. And guess what I can do? I can point the camera at the sign and it will read it to me. And so you just have to have a little fun with it and just treat it like a fun challenge, and there's probably a way.
I really like Kurt's answer because I agree. It is kind of fun to put it in a game. I think one thing that comes to my mind is try to find out what works best for you. Like for Kurt, he can use the camera on his phone to where he can listen to see what the sign says. For me, I have a little bit more vision where I can use large print to read the sign, but I still use that camera like Kurt does. I think whatever works best for you is something that I would say that you can work on and understand how you can learn in our world.
Or a book every night. I don't know why it helps me fall asleep, it just does, I don't know why. And to navigate my phone, it's like silent, but when I'm going to find a book on YouTube, I say, hey Siri, play blah 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 on YouTube, and then if it's like a book, then she can usually find it. And if it's like on Netflix or something, I've tried and it doesn't work with Siri. So recently, as in I just started this school year, I've been starting to use, well, not technically the school year, but a little bit before, but I've been starting to use a new app called VoiceOver. You probably don't know it, but you have it on your phone right now. If you have your phone in school, you actually have it. If you say, Siri, turn on VoiceOver, it will turn, if you have Siri set up, of course, it'll turn on VoiceOver. And you, touch the screen, and it makes a click, and then it tells you what you touched. And a lot of these signs in elevators, like the signs that say bathroom in our school, or the elevator that takes you up and down the stairs, which I don't use, have Braille in them next to the buttons, and so I can read that Braille, and that's really awesome that they've started doing that.
do for fun? Like, are there fun things that we do sighted people that blind people can do too? So let's ask them.
Well, I can still see mostly. So for fun, I usually play video games and Fortnite. But that's just because I can still see. If I can see, it would probably be more like checkers or something where I can feel where all the squares are and games that have texture.
Do any of you people on this stage, do you play video games at all?
Yeah!
Let's hear how that's done.
Alright, so my computer, and this is what I've done for a lot of my jobs, is work on computers, but there are a lot of, they call them audio games, right? So you put your headphones into your computer, and there's one I like to play where there's a bunch of zombies coming at you, and you have to run away from the zombies and fight the zombies, and you hear them coming from your left, and you hear them coming from your right, and you hear them coming from behind you, and you have to be fast and run out of the way. And so you can do a lot of it with sound. They just have to design it for it.
What do you do for fun?
I love to read. I'm a big reader, and I love to play my flute. And my husband and I went to Washington, D.C. and Baltimore, Maryland for the summer. So when I get the chance, I love to travel. We're going to do a family trip up to Park City next year with our kids.
I like to hike and go outside. I like to hang out with friends and family. A lot of the times we watch or play sports. Like, who likes football? Yeah. Football, baseball. We like to watch and listen to a bunch of different sports and just have fun.
What does hiking look like for a blind person? Help us to try and imagine that.
Oh, yeah. So hiking, a lot of the times, I always take my cane, and some people think, why do you have a hiking stick? Well, I mean, you could use it as a hiking stick sometimes. But for me, I always take my cane, and I always try to go with a friend when we're on a hike, especially if it's a hike where there's going to be rattlesnakes or different types of animals, because I could probably hear them come and try to get to me, but I wouldn't be able to see them, especially with big rocks in the way. I can't really see that as much, so I always try to go with a good friend of mine who has more vision than I do.
Talking about hiking, there is a guy by the name of Eric Weiner. He was the first blind person to climb to the top of Mount Everest, and he used trekking poles in each hand, and he had a guide. He tells some great stories in his biography, and one of them is he was going into camp with his friend into this camp, and his friend said, okay, let's switch places. You guide me. And so they start walking, and he's like, yeah, there's a rock on your right. It's kind of big. In his book, he said the only reason I knew about it is because I was the one who ran into it. So they had a good time tricking these folks at this one camp about the guy, the blind person and his rather clumsy guide, until they told him who it really was.
So, have any of you ever heard of a game named Uno? If you do, say green skip. Yeah. So, there's a version of Uno. I don't know if any of you have ever played this. You probably haven't, but it's called Braille Uno. It's literally the exact same as regular Uno, but the cards, they do have print on them, but they also have Braille. So, my family, I don't know if we got bored of it or now we're kind of busy and we can't find time for it anymore. But we used to sit in the living room and play Uno at night. So I like that, and I also like to sing. I am really good at playing the violin and the taiko drum. You may not know what that is, but we don't have enough time to explain now. And I'm also good at playing the African American flute, I think it is. So those are some of the things I like to do.
So we gotta wrap it up now because we have the younger kids coming here shortly. But I hope we were able to demonstrate to you that there is a lot to celebrate about being blind and that it is not a tragedy, it's not a disaster. And these people, as you can see, live full and productive lives, and they use their self-mastery skills to be able to get to where they are today. It didn't just land on them, they had to work really hard to learn how to walk with a dog correctly or how to use your cane correctly. Actually, one more thought I had, because I know that some of these people are rock stars in navigating really busy environments. So this last question is for Kurt, who has traveled extensively. He said he was riding the train all by himself in all these cities for a month. So how did you make sure that you were safe in a big city like New York City or Chicago?
So, years of practice, you learn to really trust your ears, hear the cars, hear the people, so you know like when you can cross a street and not die. I would always do a little bit of research about the city before to find kind of things I liked. But the big thing is, for me, not getting frustrated when I get lost, because it happens a lot, right? And when you get lost or something doesn't go right, I try to think of it as, okay, what did I learn from this? What fun things did I find that I wouldn't have found if I just did everything right? And so, more than just I have to work through this, it's annoying, this is really frustrating. No, this is fun. I got turned around and I can figure it out, and while I'm figuring it out, I find different things, and I might find a new restaurant that I didn't know was there, or I might meet some people that I didn't know. So it's all about just, practicing the skills, knowing, trusting that I can be safe, and then, just having fun with it, it's not supposed to be boring.
And thank you guys all for coming. We're all done. You guys can go back to your classroom.